Many regard the 2023 British Grand Prix as one of the most disappointing races for Mercedes, despite Hamilton achieving a commendable podium finish. Hamilton, despite setting a record for most podiums achieved by a driver at a single venue at Silverstone, was clearly not happy with how his W14 performed around his home track. Even Wolff and Russell expressed their concerns regarding the W14's pace around the Silverstone circuit. But was the British GP weekend actually that bad for the Silver Arrows? That becomes questionable, as James Allison has revealed intriguing details about newfound performance in the W14 with the latest batch of upgrades around Silverstone. An incredible transformation has seen McLaren jump ahead of Mercedes in Formula One's pecking order at the British Grand Prix. But to come to this point, McLaren had to endure a woeful start to the season. The MCL 60 at Bahrain was effectively the 9th fastest car on the grid. The team accepted their position within the competitive order, and since then were working on overhauling its car to a near B spec. That's what started around Austria, with Lando Norris converting all that hard work into a P4 finish at the Red Bull Ring. That was encouraging progress for the British racing outfit, as they took that momentum to Silverstone by introducing a new front wing specification. Norris was only quarter of a second off pole on single lap pace, with his teammate qualifying a brilliant third. That impressive one-lap pace translated over to the race day as well, with both McLaren drivers finished P2 and P4 ahead of both Mercedes drivers. The British Grand Prix marks the second consecutive race where the Silver Arrows have been outclassed by one of their customer teams. First it was Aston Martin, and now it is McLaren. The only race where Mercedes reigned supreme over its customers was the Spanish Grand Prix. This result at Silverstone has had alarm bells ringing back at Mercedes factories, as Lewis Hamilton called the jump in performance made by the McLaren to be a wake-up call for the Silver Arrows. Hamilton, while noting how good the W14 is performing currently, also noted how much better the McLaren is performing in the same areas, as he went on to add, "We've got lots of strengths in our car, and long run particularly is great. As soon as we get the rear end that they have, we're going to be on our way, so that's what we've got to fight for." But first, George had a really great long stint on the soft tire, and I did also on the medium tire. We've got to hold on to the good bits and just bolt on some good other stuff. George Russell was taken aback with McLaren's impressive showing at Silverstone. He admitted that after the safety car, he expected himself and his teammate to stand on the podium, accounting the tire advantage the Mercedes cars had over the McLarens. But he was surprised by how quickly the McLarens were able to fire up its tires, while also acknowledging the greater aerodynamic efficiency of the McLaren. "I thought it was going to be clear-cut, Lewis and I P2 and P3, see you later. I couldn't believe how well they turned on the tires. Perhaps if they put the soft on their car it may not have worked the same way as it worked on ours. Equally, if we had the hards on, it probably wouldn't have worked the same way as it did on their car. But medium, hard was definitely the wrong strategy. The softs were certainly the best tire. They were a good 1.5 to 2 tenths ahead of us." During qualifying, the Mercedes duo qualified P6 and P7 behind Red Bull, McLaren and Ferrari. While they were able to move ahead during the race, their pace was still no match to the McLarens, in a track which should suit the W14 perfectly. Hamilton admits he's worried Mercedes' Silverstone upgrade, predominantly a new look front wing with curved separators, didn't improve the car's performance as he had expected. "Yeah, definitely yesterday was not the greatest feeling at the end. I think ultimately because we'd had a really bad race, obviously, in the previous week, and we knew we had an upgrade coming here, so we were all very hopeful of the step that we were going to hopefully try to take this weekend and bring us in closer. But to our disappointment it didn't take us that step, unfortunately, and for us to be 6th and 7th ultimately wasn't a great feeling." The 7-time world champion made that comment as the W14's development has not yet met his expectations. The part now in question is the front wing. So before we dive into if not the new front wing is improving the car's performance, let's take a look at the new front wing. Mercedes has opened a small tunnel in the underside of the wing to increase the overall flow that connects up to the tire squirt that goes around the outside of the front tire. That small tunnel can also reduce roll sensitivity in fast corners as the wing tip gets closer to the ground. Mercedes has also reduced the camber on the front end plate outer turning vane. This will pull slightly more airflow from under the wing into that tire squirt flow than before. The top element of the front wing is designed to work the airflow around the front tire harder. According to Mercedes technical director James Allison, the aim of this new front wing is to fix one of the W14's weakness, and that is to improve the performance of the W14 around slow speed corners. Did that actually happen? Well, yes. Mercedes around the slow speed corners was faster than the McLarens, and was a close match to the Red Bulls. Allison mentioned about achieving a better balance for the car around the slow speed corners with this new front wing, as the tech genius went on to add, A bit early to tell. The new front wing of course is designed to make us go faster. That's why we do all our things. But the specific characteristics of this new front wing that we're excited about is, it should improve the balance and performance of the car through the slower range of the corners. Now Silverstone is famous for lots of things, but lots and lots of slow corners is not one of them. So what we took as a comfort from Silverstone is that in the slower parts of the track, we were looking pretty decently competitive. So that's a tick in the box for this new front wing. While the new front wing seemingly has improved the car's performance on the slow speed corners, the edge they had on the high speed corners has seemingly disappeared. Has the new front wing found performance for low speed while sacrificing its high speed performance? Well, if we look at the W14's performance at Silverstone, that seems to be the case. But is this similar to what the team tried at Austria with Lewis Hamilton's car? Certainly not. The front wing is new, and we know that new parts take at least 2 to 3 race weekends for the team's engineers to fully optimize. That's what happened at Monaco and Barcelona, and that is what is going to happen again for sure. Lewis Hamilton talked about improving the W14's rear to bridge the gap to Red Bull. We've got lots of strengths in our car and long run particularly is great. As soon as we get the rear end that they have, we're going to be on our way, so that's what we've got to fight for. This is what Mercedes are going to be chasing now with its next batch of upgrades. As the team has been able to improve the car's slow speed performance with a new front wing at Silverstone, the team will now work on improving the car's rear to add more downforce. That allows the silver arrows to run less loaded wings, gaining more straight line speed and better high-speed cornering performance. High-speed cornering and aero efficiency will matter for Belgium. But the next race is at Hungary. Hungary is a track filled with slow speed corners. So with this newfound performance for slow speed, Allison believes Mercedes can enjoy a better weekend than what they expected previously. Hungary is a track made up almost entirely of slower stuff. That we'll get to know for sure, but early signs are promising. New front wings seem to do what we expected, and hopefully, it will bring us more at tracks which have a wider range of slow corners. But one thing is for sure, McLaren's performance jump should not go unnoticed, as they were able to find a second Roth of lap time with just one upgrade. When we take a look at the upgraded McLaren, it looks more similar to the Red Bull aerodynamic philosophy. This fact was stressed thoroughly by Lewis Hamilton, as he wants his team to re-examine Red Bull aerodynamic concept. You know, the McLaren is proof of the direction that they've gone. I mean, it was impressive how quick they were in high speed. This change in competitiveness has not gone unnoticed by the rest of the grid, and especially Mercedes. The Mercedes technical director revealed they have a big bank of photos of the MCL60 to look back upon and assess what has changed on the car between Canada and Britain, and they will see what can be taken to potentially include on their own car moving forward. The interesting thing and unusual thing about the McLaren upgrade is its lap time effect is really quite strong. It's pretty unusual to have a step of that size of relative competitiveness in the middle of the season. Chapeau to them, they've done a really good piece of work there, but that also makes it interesting for us because we have the before and after shots and we know the lap time effect was big. So, well worth us paying more attention than we normally might to a team or another competitor team's upgrades because in this case, we know that whatever changed has made a really meaningful difference in their lap time. So, quite useful for us to know what that was and see whether it can play into our own thoughts about developing our own car. It's clear that Mercedes are moving in a better development direction than what they were on during the season's start. But is the ceiling of this direction enough to bridge the gap to Red Bull? Can Mercedes improve the W14's rear and the car's aerodynamic efficiency with the next batch of upgrades? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section down below. We'd love to discuss it with you. And on your way down, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future uploads to keep yourselves up to date about the 2023 Formula 1 season.